Former FBI Director James Comey indicted again by President Trump's DOJ, accused of threatening the president's life after posting 8647 on Instagram written in seashells.
The first count is that on or about May 15th of last year, he knowingly and willfully making a threat to take the life of and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States. Count 2, James Comey knowingly and willfully transmitting in interstate commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill the President of the United States.
Former DOJ Chief of Staff Chad Mizelle joins me now. Chad, the DOJ added that this indictment comes after months of gathering evidence to prove their case. So what does the DOJ need to show in terms of evidence beyond this one picture to establish their case?
First off, thanks so much for having me. What DOJ is going to be able to prove here, what they presented to the grand jury, is evidence not only that this image was transmitted, but that James Comey knew exactly what he was doing, right? This whole facade about, I didn't understand this, even though he was an AUSA, a U.S. attorney, the Deputy Attorney General, and the head of FBI. He spent essentially an entire lifetime at the Department of Justice, yet claiming that he somehow didn't realize that transmitting 8647 was going to be perceived as a threat by the President of the United States. So I suspect the evidence they have is showing that James Comey knew exactly what he was doing.
Here's James Comey's response, defiant response, I should add. Listen.
Well, they're back. This time about a picture of seashells on a North Carolina beach a year ago. And this won't be the end of it. I'm still innocent. I'm still not afraid, and I still believe in the independent federal judiciary, so let's go. This is not how the Department of Justice is supposed to be, and the good news is we get closer every day to restoring those values.
Chad, his attorney has flagged that their defense is going to be the First Amendment. That is expected, but I want to build upon something you said in your initial answer. I actually want to go a step further. Isn't the director of the FBI held to a higher standard when the mere legal import of his words is something that I, as an ordinary citizen, have to follow, different than if, Carly says something to me? That doesn't have a legal import necessarily, like when you're the director of the FBI. Your thoughts?
I think that's exactly right. Look, I find it rich that James Comey, whose career is marked by a decision to not prosecute Hillary Clinton for political reasons, is now complaining that the Department of Justice is making a prosecutorial decision for political reasons. Look, he didn't get an iPod from Oprah. He didn't get a sucker from a bank. People don't hand these things out for free. A group of Americans found that it is more likely and probable cause that he, in fact, violated the law. And if I'm James Comey, to be honest, I'm furious. I'm furious that these seashells were in North Carolina and not Virginia or Maryland, because I think he's going to find a far less accommodating judge and jury in North Carolina than what he got last time in Northern Virginia.
Such a crucial point there. Before we let you go, want to get your thoughts on this. DOJ charging Dr. Fauci's top former advisor for allegedly destroying and concealing records during the probes into the origin of COVID-19. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche saying following allegations represent a profound abuse of trust at a time when the American people needed it most. As alleged in the indictment, Dr. Morens and his co-conspirators deliberately concealed information and falsified records in an effort to suppress alternative theories regarding COVID-19. Chad, is Dr. Fauci next?
I hope so. But let's be clear about what we're facing. Morens isn't being indicted for making decisions that led to the death of millions of Americans, right? That's what Fauci did. Morens is being indicted for destroying documents, hiding evidence, and receiving government kickbacks. In fact, I actually think that these two cases are related. Morens is being indicted for exactly what Hillary Clinton should have been indicted for, but wasn't because of the actions of James Comey. So what I see is a return to accountability and justice and away from the deep state Comey era that used to reign rampant at the Department of Justice. It's a new era with Todd Blanche, Kash Patel, and I'm really excited to see what is in store.
The deadline to charge Fauci would be May 11th, and what an interesting legal test of the prophylactic pardon power this would be. Chad Mizelle, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox 1.